we're here with Aimee Lockwood, and we're getting ready to talk over what it's like to be a small business owner. Aimee, why don't you start off by telling us what company you own and what you guys do?
Hi, yeah. So my name is Aimee Lockwood, and my husband and I own a company named Eden Home Staging, and we help homeowners and real estate agents help to get their home up on the market. And so we're marketing it based on the showing it off, kind of like putting your makeup on before you leave the door. So yeah, it's fun stuff.
What have you done in life prior to the point where you created your business?
Gosh, a lot of different things. The thing I did the longest period was I was in an accounting world for a large private owned company that worked between newspapers, radio, a Christian bookstore, and like a winery. The guy owned a lot, and so he had a lot of little companies that I was part of the side company that ran the paperwork for it. And so I was in that world for a total of a little over 10 years, but it was in between. Like I had kids and I kind of took time off, and then they asked me to come back. And they actually asked me to come back a few times, even after I left the second time, and then I moved, so they can't ask me anymore. So I did that, and then I started that one when I was like 17, almost 18 years old, and in the filing department. So I just worked my way up. And then while I was at home being a mom, I was just trying to do some other little things here and there. So I sold Mary Kay Cosmetics for like 3 or 4 years. I worked for a company called Dream Dinners, and it helped me in the sales field a little bit more on that, especially because of the day-to-day with relationship with different clients and stuff. And it was just a small franchise of a company who built, you would make your own meals and freeze them. And then I also was a fitness instructor, but that was more of a non-profiting because it was a church related thing where we used the church building, and it was just a space where I could connect with people and build relationships. So I taught a fitness class for a couple of years, and I went to school to be a massage therapist in 2004, and also did that on the side with my accounting world for 4 years. So yeah, a little bit of this and that.
A little bit of everything. What life experience triggered your desire to become a business owner?
I always did have a desire to kind of run my own time and be able to have that placement of not feeling like I was stuck to that box wall of every day you need to be here doing this and doing this. So I guess it felt more free to be able to be the one to make the choices and to say yes and no to things based on my family and stuff. So yeah.
What experience did you have in business bringing into your business?
I feel like, well, as you heard from the beginning, all the little things I did, I really was one that I tried to always stay attuned to how businesses were run. I was able to see a difference from a large, company with over 500 employees to a small company like Dream Dinners that had, maybe 12 employees total. Seeing how they ran and how they were able to manage themselves and their time and stuff. And so even today, now that I'm growing in our business and it's how it shifts and moves, I'm able to kind of go back to points and times and going, gosh, okay, I'm not alone in this. Someone else had to do this stuff too. And I remember seeing things and being part of different things. So just trying to take value of that. I think that was really helpful. I know that I feel that every piece that I walked through helped to create the understanding. And again, if I don't know something, there are so many people that I've also connected to mentorship wise that I can reach out to for some guidance as well.
It's really interesting because the more I talk to people in this, that it's the networking, it's the little things that really help when you're starting your business. It's, you don't know a whole lot in a lot of cases. It's either learning a lot on your own or relying on other people.
True.
What life experiences, maybe other than previous work experiences, or even including those, have you had that you feel as an asset to your current business?
I would say that there are definitely things that I can understand and either see what has become areas that I know that I'm weak in, because maybe of certain things I grew up feeling or doing that I'm now having to actually confront from some aspects from my youth in school, and how there were moments and times where I kind of didn't feel received by people, that it can come up and kind of feel like this pressure based on fear of man, and trying to like respond to something, and then understanding how that's actually not a natural way. And I need to look the fear in the face and realize that there's, that there's camaraderie in anything that we do, no matter what, but I don't have to come at something feeling like I'm struggling through something. So I feel like the struggle sometimes can help me respond to issues that are happening as well, and realize that I'm not the same person that I was 20, 30 years ago. And then also to know that I'm the one that gets to make my story. And then also I know that there were values in my education that I did get. Being I was educated privately, I had to really like push myself to sustain and really show that what was being gifted to me in that education field was a value, and I was proving that. I feel like there was just an extra piece to that, instead of feeling like I was just, it's just something you get because society's giving it to you. Like there is something more to that when you know that people are expecting of you. So I think that was also, I think, a key to my moving forward.
What life habits, or what habits do you have in life that you would consider a liability for your business?
Probably my taking the fear stuff, just because it can kind of put that pressure if I'm not watching myself. And then I feel like I'm acting out in my job, not in responding out of my character, that I know who I am, but I'm acting out of the character where I'm afraid that there's a failing point to it. So it's more that, which then will either make me, sometimes I could choose to, maybe I don't want to work on a certain job because I feel like it's going to put too much pressure on me or something. But when I'm walking in my true identity and really seeing what I'm made to do, and I walk it out that way, the creative side in me that I know God has placed in me has really helped me to just watch a room turn out to be a delight for buyers and the sellers when it comes to the current job state that I'm working in.
That's what I love about this, is because I love giving other small business owners in all stages of being it, whether it be very beginning or veterans doing this for 20 years. It's nice to know that fear is okay, and it's normal that we all experience it, and we all have to fight through it. But it's definitely, you're not alone in it. You may be alone in your business in it, but it's a normal feeling, and it's okay to have that feeling.
It's great.
I think that's important to recognize half the time, is just that it's okay. What ignited your spark to start your business, or any sparks that you had in your business? Like, where is there like a definable moment that was just, aha, this is the business we want, and this is going to work?
Yeah, of course. Early on from my younger years, I always enjoyed things to look gathered and created a relaxed place where people could feel welcome, even in whether it was a bedroom that I just had because I was a kid, or my mom would let me move the furniture around to find and see what way something would look the best. I had that ability and freedom to do that, which was really great. I would say though, as that produced after I married my husband, it was a slow process of time of seeing how much he really loved working with his own hands and to build things. And so I kind of helped like give ideas of, hey, could you make this for me, like a coffee table or an end table, or I found this table, this dining table, you want to, take all the, switch it out, change the color tone or something, kind of go shabby chic or this or that based on, whatever our style was at the time in the house. So when I saw that happening, it enveloped another part of me. And I knew that I always loved homes as well. So on the other side, I always loved the idea and concept of going into an open house and just seeing the floor plan. There was something about that side of me. I didn't know when I was younger, do I want to be a realtor? Do I want to be an architect? I knew I loved floor plans, layouts, and styling. There was something in me. So from an early age, there was something in that. And so I just kind of would always kind of keep it in its space. I didn't know where it was and where it would land. I thought maybe interior designing would be good as well. So I thought I'd go ahead and check out at that time the Art Institute of Portland when I was there. I went to a insight thing. I was about 19 and it just didn't feel right. It was like, whoa, there's a lot of things I don't want to do that they're talking about. I just like this side. So I don't want to waste money and go into this field and then, what do I do with it? And I don't think I felt my value. I didn't feel like someone would see a 19-year-old and actually go, oh, sure, she's the one that's the expert and knows what to do. So I'm like, so again, I pulled everything back and just let that be, kept doing what I was doing. But so I would just enjoy my own home space. As I got married and had kids, my nurseries were probably a huge thing to always procreate and build upon. And then when my kids were little, I went to a group called MOPS, Moms of Preschoolers. And there was one girl in my group that was a realtor. And so she and her husband were just starting their business. And my husband at that time was starting to build wood furniture pieces for me. And like, gosh, I'd love to get your stuff in the store. We kind of created an Etsy shop so that way we could sell some pieces. And he, sold a decent amount of pieces. It was fun to see him be able to work with his hands and do that on the side. And so that didn't really become anything, but it was just another nugget. We get deposits in our life of different things. And so being able to see that I can look back and see all these moments of times where it was solidifying this, moving forward in this space of new business. My husband and I always talked about doing a business together. We always had like this desire in us but we just didn't know what was going to be that type of opportunity. And so a couple of years later, after that part started, then I saw a house that had a really cool shop, and Darren and I were like, oh, this would be cool. Maybe we could see I had another realtor friend who came to my fitness class that connected with me, and I called her up asking if she could show us the house. So we went with her to go see that house. And as I was walking through, I was like, okay, I can see this coming over here. And I could see this over in this room on this wall over here. So I just started like really putting placement of understanding layout and the feel of the home as I was walking through it. And after going the walkthrough, we invited her to our house. She wanted to kind of see what comps were at the time, to see what our house was worth and how that would possibly work out if we did want to put an offer on the house. And the first thing, she opens the door and the first thing she just says is like, hey, did you know that home stagers, make $3,000 to $5,000 on staging a house? And all I know is the light bulb went off. And she didn't say, you'd be great at staging. She didn't say any of that. It was just, she gave me just another deposit, just right there to help me open the door and actually walk through it. And once that night ended, we didn't decide to put an offer on that house. But my husband and I started Googling, like, what does it take to be a stager? How do you, what is the, you know, I started Googling a lot of different questions. And when I did that, Darren was just like, hey, that's cool. And he just started looking up like what we would need to make things actually happen on the moving side and stuff. He was like, yeah, this sounds cool. Why don't you like look some more on this, you know, on what it takes? Because I wanted people to know that I was a professional at what I was doing. And here I'm like, I've actually, besides my own house, haven't staged or anything. So funny thing is that friend who shared that, she had her brother's home that was going to go on the market, and it was vacant probably about 2 months after I was really informed about staging as a whole. And I said, hey, I just want to see if this even works. Would you see if your brother would let me stage his house to get it on the market? I mean, I won't charge you guys. I just want to make sure I can get some photos from this and really see how this works. And I had a stage in, I think, you know, at that time, of course, trying to figure it out. It took me about 2 days to do it, but that was still pretty good for first time. And I was able to work it out. I didn't bring in any, I think I maybe went to Habitat for Humanity restore store to buy a few extra pieces that the home needed to really still help show it off. And most of the pieces we did have that weren't being used, or if they were ours from our home, we knew it was only going to sit for, you know, up to 30 days. We didn't really put too long of an experience. So we put it all together. She placed it on the market, had multiple offers, and sold within 3 days. Wow. And it was just a small little 2-bedroom flag home in a really bad neighborhood. And I did comps with like 2 or 3 other homes that were the same kind that were vacant, and they were sitting for like over a month. So knowing, it just brought this light in me, like, oh my gosh, this works. And so I decided to do stage training. I found a company I wanted to work with, and I wanted to hear from them on how they did their business, how they ran their business, the business structure of staging, and then, you know, that confirmation of, do I know really what I'm doing in the design world? So that was really kind of where it then took off from there.
Awesome. If you could pick one task that you do in your business that you absolutely hate to do, what would that be?
I hate the moving aspect. So I kind of take it off for the most part, but it took time. We're now, you know, been in the industry now for a little over 3 years, and we now have, you know, a moving crew. We're actually looking to hire another person that could be a mover / driver, so Darren can train them on driving the truck. And that's really like, I like getting in there and making sure the pieces are in the right place. So I feel like, you know, it's the day-to-day of the mundane. Darren, my husband's mom, so my mother-in-law, said it well. She calls us glorified movers. So if you don't like moving, this is not the industry for you. Not to say you can't make it happen if you got the right hands to do it for you. But it is the same over and over. And there's definitely some key aspects that, you know, aren't my favorite, that the goal is, yes, to make sure that I can bring it, the business can bring in enough to hire the person who does love to do that job, so I can back off. Some of the paperwork I also don't care for so much, and this year we were able to bring in a administrative assistant, and so I'm training her up on understanding how to do the processing of paperwork and everything as well.
Wow, that's nice. If you can go back to the first day that you opened your doors and focus on something different, or focus on one thing that would make things go any smoother, what would be the one thing you would focus on your first day starting out?
Wow. I feel like because our business is so many different layers, it's really hard. Um, I don't know. I really feel like it's been God's hand moving this the whole time. So it's hard for me to say I would want something to change, because even just as I was talking to you, thinking about if I never had the fitness class, I wouldn't have had the one realtor friend. I wouldn't have ever gotten to know her, and she wouldn't have then shared that piece with me. Would God have offered the opportunity a different way? Oh, totally. But I feel like there were different things that I was meant to do at different times to bring me to the place that I am today. So I'd say if I was to take something away, I might not learn something that I need to learn. So, painful moments and enjoyable ones they all come together, and it is the beautiful mystery of life. So yeah.
I love that, because I mean, I like thinking back to my own journey. It's like I feel like I'm the definition of someone who's done a little bit of everything but not perfected anything. And then as I see my journey where I'm at today, I'm like, I wouldn't change a thing. And I love that. I think God obviously has the perfect plan for each of us, but it's kind of fun when you can sit back and be like, okay, now I know why I went through all those
Yeah,
crap
exactly.
times. So, what do you do to stay ahead of trends or ahead of your competition?
Well, I mean, first thing I can say is connect with your competition. I think that's the first thing that comes to my mind, because ultimately there could be times where, at least for my industry, uh, I could find myself not being able to fulfill a job for a weird reason, and knowing that I have some good com- competition that I trust still that would be able to take a job on if I really needed some help at an end point, or seeing how they're running their businesses also helps you to understand how to shift and work your business to make sure it's working well. So I'm actually part of a knit community of stagers in my area, and then also it's nationwide, so we can hear and see about how we're all running, and we can actually have like a movement going forward. There are still very many stagers that continue to choose to not partner in with our staging community, but I think it is still great to actually see that. It does help me to know areas that I feel like I'm growing in and that I want to achieve. I think there was a podcast I listened to. I don't remember who it was. I've listened to way too many. And one thing they said was, you don't want to just look at the one that you feel is like right in front of you, that you're trying to achieve the same type of placement as them, because you're seeing them as greater than you in a way. You want to actually go to above, like you actually want to think of who they're thinking of that they're trying to follow, and then follow that. And that will actually help move you forward more. So if that's the case, really see what you feel like is outside of your bounds, going, oh my gosh, to actually do that type of work or work with certain clients that would take me there. What do I have to do to show myself as though I'm already working in that environment and already believing that I can make that happen? I mean, I love working with the one-on-one, normal average house in Seattle. Of course, we're talking, maybe $600,000 to $800,000, while someone could be working on $3 to $6 million, $12 million homes, and you're like, how in the world do they make that happen? That's ginormous, and it's so particular and stuff like that. So it's like thinking about it, but not expecting it, and then also loving what I'm currently doing. It helps me to kind of stay focused, but also like in its space. I can say also on my own, with how my business runs, our goal is not to be cookie cutter. Our goal is to connect buyers to that specific house. So I like to make each home feel like it's still unique. So I think that is one of the things that makes us a little different than some staging companies, at least in our area.
And that's really important, because like small businesses, regardless of whether you're e-commerce or or brick and mortar or providing a service, you have to differentiate yourself. And that's awesome that the steps you're taking to do that. We try to, in training for Amazon people, it's like, how can you make your product better, or what things can you add to it to give the buyer a sense that you're getting something more than your competition, so you can get more sales in that way. Which kind of ties me into the next question of, what makes your business unique? What do you do to differentiate from your competition to make someone want to choose you over them?
I would say it would probably be me, and my team. I mean, really, the biggest thing that makes us different is who we are and how we run our business. Because I don't know how another staging company actually does their day in and day out, and how they respond to their clients. So when I do know that I've had a realtor call me and then call me back and then call me back, and then I get a referral from them, from another realtor, saying so and so's referred me to you because they said that you were absolutely amazing, we love working with you. It's that uniqueness. It's knowing that our business has sustained its growth point because of how we care for our clients, in the sense that we're serving them through our staging, but it's also through our actions and how we connect with people. So that's really important to me.
Obviously, I mean, there's an obvious answer to this next question, as far as how to prioritize your tasks daily, weekly, or monthly. And obviously, what jobs you've got going on right now have your attention immediately, but how do you balance what's immediate attention, what's coming up, and then preparing for the future?
Yeah, that one's definitely, it can become a beast sometimes in my industry because of different seasons. Over the last year or two, we were able to work it to the most part, but I would find myself with really late nights, going to bed at midnight or 1 o'clock, because trying to prioritize. And most of us, our businesses, there's a lot that we do online based on sending emails, sending quotes, sending, invoices, payments, all of that kind of stuff, processing the bills, doing all of that. So it's just all of the little things. And sometimes, you can get on and you're moving forward and you have like a game plan, and then all of a sudden you get sideswiped because something pops in your head. You say, oh, I forgot, I need to look this up. And so what I find when I'm really needing to focus in the most, because I'm not a day-to-day schedule, like look at a cross it off thing. I tend to still just kind of keep it in my head more. And I find that when I'm in overstress mode, it doesn't work very well. So I will then go to I'm writing it out, and then I will actually go, okay, that one's done, that one's done, that one's done, because otherwise something will get forgotten. So I guess it depends on the season, because I can typically take on so much and I feel like I can get it going forward. But there are times where it's like, okay, I don't even know what to start with first. They all feel equally important, and deadlines come up, and then last minute things come up. So I think it's just how I personally work in my business. My husband and I think differently. I'm a planner by trade, so I still plan it even if it's not written out. So I can think like 2 or 3 steps ahead. While Darren, my husband, he's a fixer by trade. So he'll just be in the process of a job and something goes wrong and he wants to fix it. So that's where we're very different, and we're like, we can find where we clash, and we have to have a lot of grace for one another, and just kind of try and understand how to move forward, because those type of things do not make easy for business partners.
Yeah. How do you manage your stress levels?
Oh, I wish I could say I do anything specific. The one thing I know I do is I have a great group of women that we connect with a couple of times a month. And that's kind of my biggest key outlet. Outside of that, especially since COVID, there's been a really limited things that I feel like family-wise, adventure-wise, we've been able to really do. It felt like it wasn't easy to just make a choice to go do something. And we live in Seattle, so in the winter it's cold and gloomy and rainy. So it's not the easiest to go say, okay, let's go for a hike today. Like I'm kind of like a fair weather hiker. And so even though it sounds great to get out in enjoyment, it's not so easy. And then typically I'm someone who would say, well, let's go for a drive. And there are times where we'll do that. And so sometimes it's just going out and just being in the moment in the space and seeing what's around. But I drive so much, I think I actually have pulled that one back too, because I'll drive for work. But I try and be in the moment if I'm going somewhere really cool, going out, but I have to remind myself to, I think, slow down in the moment, because since I do try to typically think 2 steps ahead, then it makes it difficult. But I can tell you one thing, when I'm on a job and really focusing in a job, I am in the moment. Which is actually, I think that's been a really cool key to see myself actually partnering in time while I'm actually working something. So that's been fun to see that.
To what do you attribute your success?
God.
I love that. It's a really simple answer there.
I seriously cannot look at this and see this being anything without him.
What's how have you effectively scaled?
I'd say that's where our like on our warehouse side, and then where our planning and making key understanding of a team. I think it's been, okay, back that up. Team effort and learning how to establish a crew team to like each and every person having something to do. That I think has helped manage the growth success on seeing the value of not feeling like everything's placed on one person's shoulders. And then also giving people an understanding that their value for our part of the business also matters, because without them we wouldn't be able to continue to like move forward the way that we currently are. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. What are your most valuable skills?
Probably, I would say that my creative brain that can come into a space and really see what will happen before it's there. I'll go into one home where the homeowners, everything's boxed up and they're like going, I'm so sorry for the mess, but I'm, hope you can see this. And I'm like, don't worry, I do this every day. It's like, it's so true. I can go into a house that's messy, that nothing makes sense. And I just come in caring for their space from that moment. I don't critique them negatively. Even in my critiquing, I'll say, well, this couch is very well loved, or I think we'll need to edit this piece out. So I talk kindly and softly in how I choose to relate to them, so that way they can see I'm not bashing them for what they've had in their home. And I also try to also remind them of things that I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful mantle area, and be a great centerpiece, like center focal point. Sorry about that. So it's those kind of things where if I can share something that I know is a valuable piece, then that's something that I'm wanting to bring to life.
What are your company goals, both short and long term?
Short term, I would say it's a consistent goal of like trying to meet a certain financial piece, because we know how much our business needs to continue to run. So I typically say, 15 homes is really our minimum, what we need for the month, but we would like to attain, 20 to 30 homes serving, depending upon the season. So as we know, it's winter months. Can we get 15 homes? And do we get 15 homes in January? We did not get 15 homes in January. We ended with, I think, 12 or 13. February's here. We now have about 11 on the books. How do we sustain and grow? Could we possibly stretch to 20? I'm not positive. But we are starting to move forward and hear about March already. So people are trying to get us on the books early. So could March possibly be a 25 to 30 homes? It possibly could. But again, I have to think forward about who all do I have on staff, making sure that if we have them more, you know, and then what could that mean? So then my forward thinking, you know, a larger goal is, what would it be to double this year from last year? And that seems like a huge stretch because we did almost double last year from the year before, but that wasn't as big of a stretch. We were able to sustain with only a couple of crew helpers. And this year for us to go another level, which would mean hiring another lead designer and another mover and possibly, well, another mover driver and then possibly another mover. So for us to say yes to that many rooms, we're looking at least 3 new people to sustain to help us actually achieve that many more homes. So what would that look like, and how do I make sure I'm managing that in a timely manner to say, okay, we staged 200 homes last year, okay, to stage 400 homes, what would that be? And is that even attainable? Yeah, I feel like it still is to be in another doubling year, but it's a hopeful goal, and it's okay if we meet it even halfway, you know,
Right.
so.
But I try to stay on script, but you talking has made me think, to follow up on that question, is it more realistic to try to double the amount of homes with the price point, like the selling point of the homes that you are in now, or to try to reach for some of those $5, $6, $7 million homes, which will probably mean you're going to have to get all new inventory and stuff in your warehouse?
True, exactly. So, and that's where matching it up, I do feel like we could find ourselves in some higher end homes this year. We do have a mix of higher end and more our average homes, furniture wise, but the question is what's currently out and what's in, and then what is my timeline I need to make sure, like, if someone was inquiring on a high end, how far, you know, could I do a turnaround in a week? Probably not so much. I usually have been trying as hard as I can to let people know 3 weeks is really optimal to get me in. That way it still gives some wiggle room for someone who is asking a week or 2 weeks in advance, because there's usually a day here and there that just doesn't have a typical stage day. But I try and work the business structure as much as I can. And I feel like I see your understanding on that. As we do also, you know, have a slight raise of rate because everything's gone up. I also added in a loyalty reward savings plan program for any realtors that I'm working with that grows with them. Therefore, they might not see a huge hit, but who is really doing the most business with me, I'm still getting a lot of other jobs that maybe have onesie twosies a year, and it's going to take them a while before they attain like a nice 20% consistent discount. While, you know, so they might be at a 5% for a while and trying to like work their way up. And so it doesn't affect me overall, but they're seeing the value of, I want to continue to work with this person so I can get that bigger discount at a certain point. So we're working on we've added that in this year. And there are a couple of clients who did make that, because we're doing an honorary program for everyone that we've worked with over the course of the last 2 years to add that value and help them in their clients with our value along with the savings. Because I feel like cost point wise, we could, you know, there's so many different ways to run this business. And if you know that you're consistently working and you do have furniture in stock, then, you know, as long as you're taking care of it and managing things right, you can get things to work for a while for you and continue to start making money, keep making money in the business. So.
I know Seattle's a big community, and you've got husband and kids, and so you guys are probably limited on time. But what kind of things does your company try to do to help within the community you guys are located?
We've personally partnered with a couple of nonprofits that we give at this time too, because we don't have very much time to do on the other part. We have given furniture. Like recently, we actually gave to a furniture place that helps move. It's called Stolen Youth, and they will help children, young adults that became homeless and get them back into a space and find a job for them and get them going and moving forward. So we had some pieces that, of course, were still in good condition. We were thinking of selling them, but it wasn't really working out as planned. And I think that it was meant to just go into these homes and give a nice space for these new families and stuff that needed that. So that's one. And then the other one that we've been partnering with for the past probably almost at least a year and a half. And they're called Liberty Road, and they actually are a nonprofit that partners with other nonprofits and helps to connect businesses to these other companies. And they work with from homeless to youth to I think foster care programs and a couple other ones. And so it's nice to still be able to say that we're partnering and caring for our community that way.
Awesome. All right, this is our last one. If you had one piece of advice for someone who's deciding they're just starting out and they want to be a small business owner, what would it be?
Understand that you can't do it on your own, and let others come around you to partner with you in insight and encouragement, because there will be times where you will need encouragement and you will need to have people to go to when you feel like you're stuck. Because if you want to grow, then you're not going to be able to do it on your own. If you want to keep a small business small, then you probably do it by yourself.
Well, hey, as a small business owner, I realize that one of the most valuable assets you have is time. So I want to thank you, especially for taking the time out of your busy day to spend it with us. I hope everybody watching really enjoyed this. I really am having so much fun with this new series. And for those of you watching, always remember, God loves you, so do I, and thanks for watching.
Bye. Thank you.
Awesome.